Hey, what's up, everyone? You're listening to the J, the Technology Podcast. We run a gamut of podcasts for the J, and this one is based on technology. While we tend to focus more on what's happening in Japan, pretty much, we talk about everything, whatever we feel like talking about in this technology podcast. And today, we're going to talk about the latest release of Linux Mint 21.3. So this is Virginia, and this is one that many people have been waiting for. I guess you could say that when it comes to Linux, I've been using it for a very long time. My first foray into Linux was Red Hat, and this was way back in the 2000s. And then I switched to Canonical's Ubuntu. And pretty much I was using Ubuntu quite a bit. I was using Ubuntu, and then Lubuntu on old school hardware. And pretty much it was just the thing to do. I mean, it was the, Ubuntu was like the big thing that everyone, loved, and everyone was jumping on, and it was great. But, fast forward to 2024, and now people have so many choices of Linux distros, and it's just pretty much, what suits you and what you feel works for you. And how I approach Linux distros is pretty much how I approach my car stereo when I go to work or whenever I go somewhere. You have your music listed as a playlist. There are people who can listen to the same artist, the same album, and just listen to it completely from the first track to the final track. I'm not that kind of person. I'm the kind of person that I listen to one song, maybe two or three, then I'll switch to a different artist, different album, you name it. I am not the kind of person that likes to settle into something for so long and just stay there. I have to keep on changing, and that's one of the beautiful things about Linux is that I could have currently I tend to use a lot of Arch and Debian, and also Fedora and OpenSUSE. I tend to use those as my primary, with Linux Mint being the fifth. Linux Mint is based on Ubuntu, but it pretty much does things that differently from Canonical's Ubuntu. And the main thing is that where Ubuntu pretty much focuses on its Snap Store, Linux Mint does not do that. In fact, from my experience, I tend to break a lot of Ubuntu systems. I'm not sure what it is, but I tend to have to keep on, starting over. This is years ago. And with Linux Mint, which I started, a few years ago as well, I've never had that problem where I had to keep on, where it broke and it didn't work. I do know though, before I go on, I will say that I did have a problem, maybe sometime last year, maybe it was 21.1 or so, where the operating system would continually kick me out, and I would be back in the user with the login screen, and it was just getting to the point where it just kept on happening over and over and over again. And I said, you know what, I'm just going to try something different, and I'll come back to it. I'll erase it, and if I want to use it again, I'll use it. So one of the things I do is I always have on, my main computers and my laptops, just different distros, and I usually run them through VirtualBox. I used to use VMware, but no, I tend to use VirtualBox now, and just pretty much run it from there. And everything just runs everything runs fine. Pretty much just depending on your hardware. Certain distros work better on older hardware, and some distros work better on newer hardware. And for Linux Mint, I've never had a problem with this software on computers that are possibly like 2014 and up. Granted, yes, you want to have it on something newer, but for something older, I've used it on older computers that I use for testing and learning about other distros, and pretty much I've never had a problem with it. Linux Mint, now again, they do things differently from Ubuntu. Pretty much Linux Mint, I could say that it's something that has grown in popularity within the last few years, and rightfully so. It works. It works immediately after you install it. Pretty much, it has full multimedia support. It's free and open source, and it's also community driven. They have a huge community that are very that are very very cool and supportive. And so I think if you are looking for a Linux operating system that you really don't have to worry about too much, and it pretty much you just add the things you need, and for ease, definitely go for Linux Mint. And especially if you are a person that says, I have elderly parents or grandparents that want to go on a computer, but I don't trust them on Windows, and I don't trust them, from giving out their personal information or clicking on phishing email. This is the cool thing about Linux, is that pretty much, you can tailor it. There's, you can go for distros that are stripped down, and you just pretty much install what you need. And, if you think that your family is mainly into it for the browser and the the email and just maybe printing capabilities, then that's all they need. You don't need all these other things to make things complicated. So I think Linux Mint really serves that purpose. One, for usability. It's easy for people to use. It's it's a lot safe, and it's I guess you could say it is safe and reliable. And they tend to have good solid amount of updates, so you have to stay on top of that. So that's one thing, that if you are helping out your grandparents or your parents or someone, just get into the process of going in there and just updating when you can, because even though it requires very little maintenance, and it does have its own update manager, it's good for you to have your hands in there, and as an admin, and just pretty much make sure that you have the root privileges and the others don't. And it's just pretty much just making sure that you create a safe and reliable system for your family members, friends, or whoever. But Linux Mint is definitely something that you definitely want to jump on. Back, I think it was created in August of 2006. Linux Mint 1.0 was known as Ada, and it was based on Kubuntu 6.06. And in November 2006, they switched to the GNOME desktop with Linux Mint 2.0 Barbara, which was based on Ubuntu 6.10. So, and this one, let's see here. I'm going to go and let's see the new features real quick. So this is the new features of the 21.3 Virginia. And here is one right here, is that, here it is. It comes with full support of Secure Boot and compatibility with a wider variety of BIOS and EFI implementations. Grub is used in EFI mode. ISO-Linux and SysLinux is used in BIOS mode. Tools and framework used by Linux Mint to produce its ISO images were updated and are based on the latest version of Live Build. And one of the things you'll notice here is that they're promoting their Hypnotics, which is their free, well, pretty much it's their TV viewer application, which you can pretty much watch IPTV or television. So we're going to go to that right now. Hypnotics right here. And you have a choice of movies and TV channels. Movies right here. You can see USA. There's 27 sections here. Italy, which has a lot. And then EN movies. But we're going to do USA real quick. And you'll see that they have Bumblebee TV and various sections there. Let's go to EN. Let's see what's there. Filmrise, Sci-Fi, Pluto. So you got the Pluto platform on here. A lot of the free channels. Italy has a plethora of programming. But the reason why what caught my interest was this. Free TV. Okay, while there's Android apps that do feature world apps, and there are Android-based computers that specialize in accessing IPTV channels, and it does it well. With Linux Mint, now you have that, and look how many countries are listed. Not every country is on here, but the thing is that you can find pretty much, you know, for me, right here, Japan. Surprisingly, you get, while you do get the free channels, you also tend to get some of the satellite channels, possibly to the chagrin of Japan. But you know, that's another discussion for another day. But there are other, of course, ways to access television from you know, a variety of countries. But the thing is that I think that this is a really major plus for Linux Mint to offer Hypnotics, and that's a major plus. So I think if anything, with Linux Mint just adding these features, it just makes it very, very cool. Granted, there are people who just said, you know what, I only use Linux primarily for work, for networking. I don't need the GUI. I don't need need that. All I want is something stripped down that is secured for me to do my work. Understandable. But for those who are looking for, you know, for an alternative of free and open source, Linux Mint is definitely attractive, and I really like it. I do like it. It's just, would it prevent me from using Debian or Arch? Not necessarily. There are certain reasons why I use the other ones, and for instance, with Arch is really stripped down, and I like it because of that. There are other distros as well that you know, like Gentoo, which is really not easy for beginners, but for people who really want to learn Linux, including Cubes, which you need a better computer for. There are also, you know, Rocky and Alma for those who want to get into Red Hat but don't want to use the paid version, or do not want to go to CentOS Stream. So there are just so many options out there. But I will say, though, that Linux Mint is creating something that possibly can be lead to something big. I like its direction right now, because the way it's going is something that invites a lot of people who want to give Linux a try, who want to get away from Windows and Mac OS. So hey, all power to the people behind Linux Mint. I think that's awesome. You can also create custom channels, so you can make your own custom TV channels. I think that's pretty awesome right there. And according here, the YT DLP updates. Under the hood, Hypnotix uses lib MPV, which itself relies on YT-DLP to stream YouTube channels. Although the upstream YT DLP project is quick to react to YouTube changes when they break compatibility, the YT DLP system package, whether it's in Debian or Ubuntu, isn't updated as often. To ensure YouTube channels continue to work when the YT DLP package is outdated, we add the ability of Hypnotix to download and update its own local version of YT-DLP. So I think that's pretty awesome right there. You have your choice of Cinnamon. That's one thing that Linux Mint uses, Cinnamon. Pretty much, usually these days, Cinnamon is something that a lot of that are pretty much an option for a lot of distros. A lot of distros are trying to make it look friendly, so you can choose the Cinnamon look, or you can do for the GNOME, or you can do KDE Plasma, or Budgie, or XF SE or CE. I'm like going blank here, and there's just so many other flavors, I guess you could call it, that you can download. So Wayland is something that you'll be familiar with. Not so much now. It's just all talk right now. So don't just keep just keep this in mind. Probably you'll hear more of it from 2024 and on, but it's something like IPv6. And IPv4 is still being used. They talked about IPv6 taking over, and it still hasn't. So, Wayland is definitely going to be big part of Linux as they leave X11. But for now, just keep an eye on this one. So right here, Wayland isn't expected to replace Zorg as default anytime soon. Not in 21.3, not in 22 point, but we want to be ready all the same. So I think that's awesome right there. You definitely want an operating system that is constantly, has updates, and it's just pretty much that they are pretty much staying ahead of the curve. This is one thing you'll notice. There are operating systems that have stable monthly releases, and there are those that just don't. They do it maybe quarterly or whenever. It's just it just depends on you and how you feel about that. So that's another thing why having different Linux distros is important. Also, who knows if they're going to last a long time. We have seen companies that have come out and were free and open source, and then they become paid companies, or they were bought by another company, and the whole structure is changed. So we'll see what happens with Linux Mint. So I wouldn't be surprised if we'll see. I'm not gonna make any future predictions right now. Linux is something that's always constantly evolving. But pretty much here, what's this? Other improvements. In Warpinator, is now possible to connect to another device manually, by entering its IP address, or on mobile by scanning a QR code. I like that. That's pretty cool. Gosh, there's just so many other updates that you can read on the Linux Mint website. There's also artwork improvements, so that's a plus. And then Linux Mint 21.3 will receive security updates until 2027. That is something important. So you know that if you do get this program today, you know that it will continually receive those security updates. Unlike certain companies that go back on their announcement, which I'm not going to name right now. But the thing is that yeah, Linux Mint is something that I'm really digging. I'm just loving it right now. Well, loving is probably a strong word. I'm enjoying it right now because to tell you the truth, there's just so many other distros out there that I enjoy, and it's just something that I like doing. I like testing out the various distros to see which works for me. And there are people who get distros based on aesthetics. There are people who get distros based on the work that they do. But if anything, you have the control to make it what you want. And you just have to make sure that it's from a, you know, it's from people who are dedicated in continually updating. Nothing really upsets me more is you get something that you really believe in, you really like, and then next 5 years later they still haven't updated. They're still using the same thing. And it's the same thing with Debian and Fedora. Those are I love them, but at the same time it's just there's just some old janky software that should be not on there, but it is what it is. That's what the community is for. That is what the website and contacting the staff is for. That's one thing you're going to learn about the Linux community, the good and the bad. But if anything, you just give Linux Mint 21.3 a chance. I think if anything, you'll find it as a good foray into Linux if you're just starting to get into it. So definitely check that out. Okay, on to the next topic. Okay, so first we're going to look into the Blitz website. And Blitz is, for those of you who are not familiar with Blitz, it's a popular name brand when it comes to certain kits and certain, from exhaust to customization to now becoming well known for their laser and radar detectors. This one is an interesting one because they're doing a project with the Arito family, Manabu and Maya. But here's Blitz's new Alphard Velfire customized project, and I really like what I see here. So let's go ahead and let's move it over a little bit here. Okay, so those of you who are not familiar what popular cars are in Japan, currently, for those who believe in who want luxury or some sort of swag type of mentality, it's just the thing is that the Alphard, the Toyota Alphard, and its twin, sportier twin, the Velfire, are both well known for this, for just for the quality. And it's just when you hear celebrities talk, it's never about a new Mercedes, about a new BMW or some expensive European car. Usually you hear about people wanting the family van, the Alphard or the Velfire. It's just they tend to go only about 60 or 70, some going a little higher depending on the customization, but you really can't go wrong with Alphard and Velfires. They're never going to come out in the U.S., unfortunately. But the thing is that the Alphard Velfires are just so popular, and unfortunately, in Japan, they're starting to see where certain locations where people are, getting their Alphard stolen, and that's unfortunate. And it's unfortunate because when it's tend to be revealed of the people who are stealing them, it's usually people who are non-Japanese who are living in Japan right now, and it's just it's similar to what's happening around the world where people are trying to they're stealing vehicles, and next thing you know you find it in another country. It's just unfortunately it's the sad thing that's happening, not just in Japan but all over the U.S. and all over the world, not just with cars but also other things when it comes to theft. But the thing is that for high luxury products, and now because it's just so popular among those who are willing to spend that much, it's just become a big thing. There was a model named Akemi Dare no Gare who had her Alphard stolen. It was recovered, but I believe it was still under police impounding, and they're still doing investigations. So it was just it was something that she just went to the parking lot garage and it was gone. So it's just an unfortunate thing. But let's go down here. So Blitz is developing the parts for this for the Alphard, and pretty much former race car driver, or he still races, but Orido Manabu, who gives a professional perspective, and his daughter Maya, who gives a more of a family perspective. Maya is also a racer. Pretty much, if you watch any American car YouTube videos, she tends to appear in them most of the time, as they are trying to really get the Orido brand name out. But pretty much, yeah, it's still in progress. So, but anyway, let's go to their laser and radar detectors. Okay, so let's take a look at the Blitz touch laser releases. So this is something that's really interesting because in 2023, around I believe it was the summer of 2023, I recently reviewed, well, not recently, but I reviewed at the time, the 2023 devices. But who knew that a few months later, Blitz would release another round of laser detectors? So here's the thing. We're going to go ahead and take a look at these real quick. Okay. Just let me get to it real fast, and then we'll talk about it. Okay. So what we have here is, of course, in Japan, they continually change the radars. They tend to have, unlike in the U.S., where you see a lot of highway patrol who are usually holding the radar detector, they tend to have a lot of these devices that are just planted all over the city. So one thing that Blitz prides itself on, and where a lot of radar technology enthusiasts, laser and radar detector enthusiasts love about Blitz, they pretty much have stepped up, to where another company who doesn't do it anymore, they pretty much took over, and now is the brand that made a radar and laser detector that does not get fooled by false alarms or certain devices. It's one of the things that made the company very popular. And let's go ahead and check this one out here. Their latest release is the TL313 series. So, and then you got the 403R. So what makes this different? Well, it supports K-band false alarm isolation function, but the TL313S supports K-band false alarm isolation function, while the is there another one here? The TL243. Okay, so that's similar to what I have right there. But anyway, what they did is they pretty much had to change things for these later releases in order to detect a new type of laser. Unfortunately, that meant that false alarms have increased again when receiving MSSS adjustment frequencies. And it's unfortunately, it's something that a lot of people, I don't want to say a lot because there's only just so many enthusiasts, but there's people who prefer those 2022 and early 2023 releases because it had less of those false alarms. But if you want a device that is up to date to today's technology, then you have to go this direction. Blitz pretty much has adopted the Comtec model series of doing things about trying to knock out those false alarms. It's just this K-band fault. This whole K-band situation. It's just it's changed the game a little bit, I guess you could say. So there are people who say that the number of false alarms are starting to increase, and it just depends on how you feel about that. Especially if you're in Tokyo, where there's a lot of buildings and so forth, you don't want your detector going off over and over and over again. I've been able to test the Blitz outside of Japan, and it sticks to it does detect maybe once in a while of the false alarms, maybe from a store or some nearby company that has a certain spatial alarm. It detects it once, maybe twice, but compared to like Cellstar, where I would get maybe 5 or 6 or 7 of those, the Blitz has done very well. So I think, if anything, I think Blitz is still a very good company. Again, it's following that Comtec way of doing things, and I still believe that it's still one of the better ones. But again, I think when you look at the 3, Blitz, Yupiteru, and Cellstar, Blitz will still give you the least amount of false alarms. While it did increase a bit from its previous models, I mean, there's just only so much you can do with the technology changes. So that is what's happening with Blitz. Going down here, you can see the various bands and the satellites and the GPS data. A lot of them can be controlled by OBD, or they can be run through a USB, and it will automatically detect the GPS data. But again, this is primarily for those who want a detector, primarily if you're living in Japan, that really, it's customizable. It's really good at having detection. And yes, you get that female voice telling you if you're turning on the corner and so forth, and or when it connects to the satellites. But if anything, among the ones that I own, it's among the most quietest. But it's also it's not too expensive either. But there is something that that I personally, I guess you could say with Blitz, it works so well that sometimes you wonder if it's working. And also, I like the interfaces that other companies tend to employ, but it's really hard because a lot of people love the Blitz radar detectors, laser radar detectors, because they are on point and they have the least false alarms. And for most people, that is the major factor that they look into, the least amount of false alarms. Where I am a person who wants more bling with the buck. I like seeing all those extras. I don't mind, for me, hearing all the false alarms because it keeps me on my toes. But at the same time, it just depends where you live and how active you want it. But for me, again, you could use it as a speed detection device. You can use it as a way to train yourself to use kilometers versus miles per hour. But for the most part, Blitz is a very good company, and I think if anything that the generation models from 2023 to 2024, there are changes. So it's all with the K band. It's all with the K band. So the way to look at this is in this one, the TL313R and the TL43R has K-band false alarm isolation. The TL313S has no K-band false alarm function. So I hope that makes sense. Okay, the next company we're going to look at is Yupiteru. Yupiteru is known for making, well, they were one of the, I guess you could say, longest running radar and laser detectors in Japan. They've been doing it for such a long time that they're looked at the kings of radar and laser detection. Cameras, well, there's other companies that are better, but they do release their own cameras. They also release their own drive recorders, but they're mostly popular overseas is through their golf devices. A lot of people invest on the import for the golf for their device I guess you could say it's just your golf digital computer, calculating your just the data about the certain golf course and so forth, using GPS technology. It's been very useful for a lot of people. They have released a newer version that has a built-in game, but we're not going to discuss that. We are discussing the radar and laser detectors, and one of the new ones out right now is the 81200L. So what is this one here? Well, it's a laser and radar detector. It's a 2024 model. It's a web model, actually. So that means you could probably, usually when you see web models, they are released on Amazon and also through the Yupiteru website. But you can definitely get them for a good price. So what does this one offer? Well, for one, it offers new radar wave mobile reception, MSSS Orbis alerts. So, it'll issue a warning from a distance in response to the new radar wave of the mobile Orbis MSSS enforcement radar wave. So, as you can see here, 30%. It has the highest sensitivity ever. Detection performance increased by approximately 30%. And warnings will be issued earlier and from a greater distance, they say. So it's the industry's first compatible with new radar wave mobile Orbis MSSS. Unlike conventional Orbis, MSSS is a mobile Orbis that uses multiple frequencies. Therefore, conventional radar detectors may not be able to alert you in time or alert you at all. SuperCat realized this, the MSSS warning, through its own research. So, you can see that right there. GPS is not enough. Map matching is extremely accurate. So the radar detectors that only display a map image when issuing warning cannot identify the road when you're driving on. So they issue warnings for general roads even when you're driving on the highway. Full map radar automatically identifies the road you are traveling based on the road information and the map data and provides the optimal warning. So it's important to know that in Japan, with Yupiteru being, again, one of the oldest brands, one of the most popular brands, they're also one of the most, I don't want to use the word expensive. They do charge a fee on updates because they continually update the maps. Whereas others, they have their basic maps. They don't need to do that. Yupiteru does that, and that's either, it's either going to direct you to wanting to purchase it because of those safety issues, or not safety issues, but the safety enhancements of updated maps. Otherwise, for those who don't care about that, they just want to hear the noise or want to hear something, then you could go for Cellstar or Blitz. But the laser detection performance is the strongest in the company's history. Still does 60 degrees horizontally. Let me go here. And it's equipped with wireless LAN, so it can connect to the internet. Since the model is equipped with wireless LAN, various data will be automatically updated to the latest information. But again, there is a price to that, so just know that in advance. So this one is about the laser light. It's equipped with laser light with ultra high precision optical filter and judgment system. So the SuperCat achieves ultra wide range, long distance, and high precision by adopting a unique filter and judgment system. This one right here is radar wave patented technology. Automatically cancel false alarms from radar waves with eye cancel. So that's another popular thing, that it cuts false alarms from radar waves. So there's a lot of false alarms that it could come from maybe through the security system of a company. It's what do you call it? I'm not sure what the name is, but it's the machines. Like I know in Japan, the Coca-Cola machines were causing a lot of those false alarms. So that's where a lot of people were getting tired of. They wanted to upgrade, and so they got, that's where a lot of these companies start promoting their, we have the best false alarm reduction. But again, through tests, I think Blitz is the top one when it comes to the least amount of false alarms, with Cellstar having the most. But again, it's up to you. Do you want to hear all those alarms? If you don't, Blitz, or if you definitely want the maps, definitely go for Yupiteru, because they do offer that. Yupiteru also offers accurate warnings in real time, so they alert you on public enforcement information, speed enforcement, wrong way driving, and there is a total of 90 satellites compatible. 32 GPS units in total, 26 Galileos in total of 24 GLONASS, and total of 4 Michibiki. So that's pretty cool. But again, this one comes with a cigar plug cord. So again, it's a USB to cigar plug. Most laser and radar detectors do come with that, or you could get it with the OBD2. So it just depends on you. But just know that with Yupiteru, there is a cost involved for their services. So okay, so now we have the Cellstar Assura GR129L. So this is a new release from the Assura company, and this one uses a newly designed Frederick lens version 2, and it receives laser light from far away faster and more accurately. It stably receives laser light with a reception distance of 120% and a light collection rate of approximately 3 times of conventional products. So okay, this is something that it's very important to know. And this is very, very, very important for those in Japan who live in Japan, is that I would never get a laser only detection. This one is a laser only, no radar. The reason why is because I have one of those devices. I actually have a Yupiteru device. But the thing is with the laser, especially in Japan, while it does capture it on such a small device, the thing is that it's only for laser only. And this is something that, seriously, if you want to get more than laser type Orbis and you want to get the new MSSS, you got to go for the laser and radar detection. It's just, it makes more sense. And I think one of the positives is that, let me go down here a little bit. Oh, okay. This is a positive here versus what Yupiteru offers on their laser only. The Cellstar is compatible with the quasi-zenith satellite Michibiki, and the Michibiki service allows for position accuracy in unstable areas, high-rise buildings or urban areas or mountainous areas where positioning is unstable. This is where the Michibiki satellite comes to play. But this one comes, one thing I love about Cellstar devices come with the disaster and reporting services. So this one is more text-based. It'll tell you the information if there's an earthquake or tsunami, a disaster alert. It will let you know. Now, this one right here is the laser reception warnings and enforcement points. As you can see, it'll show the picture. So it'll tell you you'll see the unit screen and voice alert. Speed cameras. It just pretty much gives you just the warning. But again, it's laser based only, and this is what it was the major concern for me, is that with laser only devices, there are people in Japan who have ones from other brands, and they will always say, "I hope it's working. I don't hear anything." And that's the common thing you hear. Where radar detectors, you'll definitely hear something. It may be a false alert, or you're actually having a Orbis, ahead of you. These laser detections they only work for that, and it's just, again, it just seems ridiculous just to buy this. I know it's just cheap, and it sounds really cool, and that's why I bought one, because I'm like, oh wow, this has laser only. I don't need a laser and radar, but boy was I wrong. Radar is so important, but hey, I get it. People they'll see the price, say, "Well, this is cheap," so they get this instead, and then thinking that they're fully protected, but they're not. But this one also allows you. This one has a screen and voice alert, especially here of they call it a running man, a standby screen. But there are other standby screens as well. You get the GPS, the time. I think this is a plus right here for those who are just wanting to know how fast they're going, because it has a GPS. That is a plus. But again, while the concept sounds very cool, the question is it for you? And I can tell you right now, if you're going to get any type of detector, you just want to make sure it has radar and laser. Despite the price, I understand laser only is cheaper, but does not provide you with that MSS protection or any type of radar warning. I don't want to use the word protection, but I mean warning. But yeah, that is the Assura GR129L. There is a commercial. Let's check it out real quick. We'll respond to it.
Cellstar からレーザー式オービス対応 GPS レシーバーに新。
We'll turn down the sound a little bit. Okay, so that is a little bit on this device, but again, as much as I do like what it does is just not enough. You definitely would need both radar and laser detection. So, but I do like it, especially for those who are more technology nuts, who want that added. I will tell you though, I will say that if you want it for the GPS and the and to know your speed, I think that's a plus, because the Yupiteru device doesn't do that. Yupiteru device just pretty much stays above your window, and you don't see anything. There is no signal. There is nothing. So that is a major advantage. In fact, now while we are here, let's see how much it is. I'm not sure if they are selling it right now on Amazon Japan. Amazon Japan, again, you can purchase this if you are living outside of the country. And the pretty much the looking at today's yen, it's doing bad again. It's at 145, so it'd be a deal for you to get if you are living in your country. But let's check it out. The GR129L. So it is about $100 right now. The GR129L, which is great for compared to the Yupiteru version. Well, the Yupiteru is a lot cheaper. Yupiteru is just only like about $50-$65 or so. But the thing is, with this one, yes, you get that GPS receiver. But the thing is that you definitely want the radar detection. Again, I emphasize this a lot because I can see a lot of people who buy these devices thinking they are getting radar detection, but it's only laser detection, and they start complaining and posting online about it didn't detect me when I passed by a police or something, and it's because it's not a radar device. So that is from Cellstar. Okay, so for device review, I'm going to interview. What am I talking about here? I'm going to review the Acer PM1 series, the 16PM161QB. This is a business slim portable monitor, and as you can see on the screen, so imagine how like you have a like a pad, like an iPad, and pretty much you have the cover, which is magnetic. It connects to the back. Pretty much you could just put it at an angle or adjust the angle the way you want. Really easy, and it comes with a USB-C device. It also comes with a HDMI to mini HDMI connector. The device itself comes with two USB-C ports on one side and a mini HDMI port. So that's why you get that HDMI to mini HDMI cable. The other side, you have the audio out, and you also have a little dial that you can increase volume or decrease volume or go through the menu. But yeah, this is pretty much a slim portable monitor that works really well. Tested it just a while ago and was able to connect it to different laptops, and also a mini computer. Worked perfectly, detected right away. Pretty much as I think if there's any recommendation that I have is that while if you're going to use this and you are close to your computer and you think that the cable, I believe it's less than, it's not even that long. I say 3 foot or so. If you think that's going to work for you, then then all power to you. But for me, I need something a little longer. That for cable wise, that it was like somewhere around 3 to 6 feet or so. You could get those cheap, and I just needed that something to connect to. This has to be powered by USB-C. So if you have a power strip that has a USB-C port or a battery, power bank that can power it, you're all good. Yes, you can probably do it through your computer, but not all computers are the same. Some just don't distribute enough power via the USB-C. Some do, some don't. But I feel that if you're going to be using this, have a power strip or have a power bank ready just to power the device to power the device itself. So, yeah, it's a very affordable device at like under $140. It has a 15.6. It's 15 inches, 15.6 inches, and has a full HD 1920 by 1080 widescreen IPS display. Has AMD FreeSync technology, 4 milliseconds G to G with an ergonomic title of 45 to 60 degrees. The monitor also has two 1-watt speakers. So, if anything, it just works out of the box. I mean, it's just really easy to use. And again, if there's anything that I do recommend, it's just pretty much making sure that you have a longer USB-C if the other one's too short. Do you need a case for it? Again, you could pretty much put it in your laptop bag. Otherwise, or you could buy a special bag for it, but it does not come with any casing. It just comes with a box and the two adapters. So, it's $139. Can't expect too much from that. But other than that, it's a really good device. It's a solid device that works immediately, plug and play. Had no problems with it. Worked on various Windows and also for Linux. I was able to get to work. Yeah, $138. That's not bad at all. So, on to the next one. Okay, and my final review for this podcast, we're going to take a look at the Royal Kludge RK-S70 mechanical keyboard. So when it comes to mechanical keyboards, a company that has been making a lot of positive noises is Royal Kludge RK. They were founded back in 2015, and supposedly it was founded by passionate gamers who wanted to create the perfect mechanical keyboard. And for this one that can easily be split in half and work via Bluetooth or wired via PC, Mac, or Android. It's another creative and unique mechanical keyboard from Royal Kludge, and I've reviewed several RK keyboards, mechanical keyboards, and I have to say that I've been very impressed with their releases. So this one, it comes with a 3150 rechargeable battery, a large capacity battery for those who want to travel, and you don't need something that's rechargeable, but you can also operate this via Bluetooth or wired. It comes with a 2.4 gigahertz dongle and a Bluetooth 5.0 and USB wired 3 connection modes. So yeah, you have those 3. So if you rather do Bluetooth, you can. If you rather do wireless by the 2.4 USB receiver, you can, or you can do it by wired. Also allows for macro key via the RK software support. This keyboard works just fine for PC, Mac, and Android. So, one thing that you'll get is that you get a keycap puller, as you can see right here. You get the USB-C cable, and you get this little dongle, which connects underneath. So both keyboards will work together. Otherwise, there's some people who, when they're gaming, they just need one side. They don't need the other, or they just need one side or the other. But I think that's just perfect for those type of gamers who need it just for that. Underneath each side comes with 4 feet, so you get a total of 8. So 4 here and 4 here. I decided to try the wired mode by connecting the spiral connector USB-C on both ends. Just make sure that you push it all the way in on both sides. On the rear, you have a USB-C connection, but on the top of the keyboard, you will see off and on switches right here. And B and G, B being Bluetooth, you just want to keep it to off when wired and on when using the 2.4 gigahertz receiver. Switch to G if you're using the USB receiver. Otherwise, for those going wired, just switch it off, and it can be placed on B or G. It does not matter. It's really easy to use, and there are LED backlit colors on the keycaps. Well, actually, underneath the keycaps, not on the keycaps. On the other side, top right, are the LED lights to show if the caps lock is on, to show the battery level. let's see here. As for the LED lighting, just press the function key, and then you can do function diagonal or function plus, or left arrow or right arrow to increase speeds, or to change various presets. The LED lighting does not show through the keycap, so that's important to know. It's underneath. As for the sound, the version I'm using is a tactile brown switch, so it's something that I prefer. It's right down the middle, not too quiet like red switches, not too loud like blue switches, just right in the middle, which I like. But you can also get the mechanical this keyboard in linear silver switches, which are more sensitive than red switches. But other than that, it's a very solid keyboard. Do I recommend it for travel? Not, Royal Kludge makes the foldable F68 keyboard, which is foldable. So that's right there. That's great for saving space in your luggage. Also, there's some people who may be hesitant because it comes with a built-in rest, which I don't like using, but for some reason, I guess using this, it wasn't that bad. Usually with keyboards that tend to have rest, I usually want to ditch those, but you really can't do it with this one because the batteries to recharge the keyboard are located in the wrist rest, so that's important to know. But other than that, it's a very solid keyboard, and again, the brown tactile switch just works perfectly. Snapping together is easy. Removing and separating the two, easy peasy. So other than that, let's see here. Is there anything else about this? Well, there are other keyboards I'll talk about next time, but anyway, that's pretty much it. So if you have a chance, check out Linux Mint, and also check out the various Japanese devices. Again, if you are living outside of Japan, they can be ordered through Amazon Japan, and with the current rate, maybe the dollar versus the pound, it may be doing better than the Japanese yen, so you're probably getting it as steal right now. So just know that in advance. The economy has not gotten better in Japan. The yen is still the same, and so you really can take advantage of that if you live out overseas. The devices do work overseas. I have tested both the Blitz, Cellstar, and the Yupiteru. But the thing is that, of course, they're designed for Japanese radars, made for Japan only. They were never meant to be used outside. But I do use the Cellstar. I've tested it, and it really picks up everything. Again, that's the benefit of the Cellstar. But again, if you want, the Yupiteru, not bad. The only problem with the Yupiterus, again, is that you do have to pay for the maps. But which you really can't. It doesn't really do you no good if you're living overseas. And the other thing is that it has this preset where all the devices, by the way, they go by Japan time because they're going through the GPSs, so you cannot set it to your country's regional time. But the thing is that one thing that I noticed with the Yupiteru is that because of the time, when it's midnight, it starts to dim. The Blitz and the Cellstar, you can turn that off. The Yupiteru, you can. So that's another caveat of that. But the Cellstar and the Blitz, they work perfectly overseas. And again, all three, they can be used as an OBD2 device if connected to your car, but the OBD is sold separately, so just know that in advance. And you can also get cheaper OBD devices that are none of these that you could get online these days, so it's not that difficult. But other than that, I think if anything, it's just in terms of these keyboards, Royal Kludge is a brand that I'm really liking as of late, so it's definitely something worth considering. And also that Acer Business Slim Monitor Portable works very well. So again, everyone, you all take care, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.